Chris Fade and Caroline Stanbury's Not So Epic podcast.
Brought to you by NMC Healthcare and Cosmesurge. Head to cosmesurge.com.
Welcome back to Chris and Caroline. No, it's not. It's our epic podcast.
You just said you kick it off. You told me to kick off the show, and then we go 3, 2, 1. Caroline kicks it off. You don't listen to your own orders. I'll say, welcome back to Chris and Caroline's Not So Epic podcast. Episode 400 and I don't even know. I don't know how many episodes we've done. All I know is I'm enjoying it.
37. But I'm actually really enjoying doing it like this, actually. I don't have to drive. I don't have you bitching and moaning because I'm late. And, we're actually both on time. And, you're not as grumpy. It's quite good.
I think when we go back to normal life, whatever that's going to be, never how long, this Zooming, like doing stuff by video, like meetings, 100% going to keep going. Because I find that I want to meet up with people on this because you can get a couple of meetings done or conversations rather than drive, park the car, go upstairs, do all that, take an Uber. You know what I mean?
I had my first dance party video last night with a girlfriend in Belgium with her husband. We drank a bottle of wine. We danced around the room. It's so much fun. I've never done that before. It was hilarious. She said it was the best night out she's had in 2 months.
Yeah, but I guess I keep seeing a lot of people say this, and I sort of agree that the novelty will wear off. Like a lot of people who have offices now at home, they said, the first couple of weeks it's fun. Like, oh my gosh, I get to work from home. I've got my little office. I'm doing my work in this. But now we're on to like week 6 and they're sort of like, all right, I want to go back to the office.
I think the thing is office work will change. And I've heard that because like with the social distancing, they're going to have to continue with offices like this. So I think more and more people will be working at home. But I do know that if you're in a small apartment and you've got children or anything like that, very hard to concentrate. Also, to be productive, a lot of times, when you've got your bed next door, it's hard not to go nap and like you need to get dressed and your power suit on to, believe your own bullshit, go like get the world going. Or I do anyway. I need my makeup, I need my shoes, I need my I'm sitting here, Chris, barefoot, and heels. There's something about a woman putting on heels and walking into a meeting and like crushing it. So I do kind of like, I see both sides and, the kids are at their father's right now. But I mean, as soon as they're back, the noise levels go up, tenfold. You can't think.
Yeah, it's true. I think, I don't know. It's interesting. If you're watching this, by the way, or listening to it, we're in the middle of the coronavirus. I feel like someone could be watching this in the year 2025 and they're like, what? Oh my gosh, these guys were doing this during the coronavirus.
So we haven't even reached the peak yet. So we're just at the beginning, I think, here in the UAE, unfortunately. So this is going to be our new normal for a while. As I said, for someone like you who was always like not liking to go out, you're not a big socializer, you kind of love your home. This is like you actually are benefiting. You're working less, so you look better. You're more rested. You've got to.
That was a compliment there, was it?
Somewhere. It was only veiled, but somewhere, I'm sure.
The reason why I like to stay at home, though, is because my life is outside. So I am always socializing, and I am always out with people, and I'm always doing a bunch of stuff. Like I'll be at events, or I'm hosting something, so it's usually on my downtime when I'm not having to do anything sort of work related that I want to spend at home. Like that's.
I don't think you work too much, so this will be very interesting to see how you come out the other side. Whether you come back a bit. Is it really worth it? I know you're trying to make $100 million, but maybe you're sacrificing too much the other side to do it, Chris. I mean, although you've got me to take care of now for the rest of your life too.
Not another one. Not another one.
Hang around your ankles. By the way, I haven't got the wedding invite. Just putting it out there.
I'm not sending you the wedding invite until I know there's going to be a wedding, because at this stage there isn't going to be a wedding right now this year. Like, it's the more I keep hearing about where we're going to be with this virus and all that. I read a really interesting article, especially with Vegas. I think
Everybody that doesn't know Chris can't read. He doesn't read. He never reads things. So this is a monumental moment for Chris. Keep going.
Well, I read it online.
on a screen, not a book. Yeah.
Yeah. The article stipulated, and I could be wrong with some of the figures, but Vegas do about, I think it's about $20 million in weddings in a year, right? And so all the weddings have already been canceled. So the money that weddings not only bring to like a place like Vegas, but around the world, the amount of people that go get married every year, that brings money towards different, like you look at a wedding, it affects so many different people, the flower people, the videographers, the stage guys, the event company, like the dressers, like all that. It's, the what, sorry?
Honeymoons, all the hotels that are only honeymoon based, really. You know, you're going to the Maldives or these beautiful islands that are catered to tourists, love, you know, traveling like that. And they're all dead, absolutely dead.
Yeah, I thought to myself, if I was like a super wealthy celebrity, like if I had that much money where you didn't care, I would probably take myself to like an island like the Maldives or something and just say, guys, I'm living here for the next 2 months. I don't want to see
that. Did you see that thing in the Daily Mail today? It was brilliant. Of the 6 billionaires caught on a private jet landing in the south of France somewhere with 3 20-year-old girls, clearly thinking they're going to have the best lock-in ever. They've been carted off and thrown out. I don't know what's happened, but it's genius. They were ready to have the best few months lock-in of their lives, and somebody just ruined that one.
But that, like, honestly, if I had all the money in the world, I would just go lock myself in. Like, I look at Drake's place. Drake gave us a tour of his house. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like a resort. It's a hotel. I just lock that door. I tell everyone, yo, I'm out. I don't want to hear from anyone until this is over. And then I'll like open the door and go like, oh, okay, we're good to go again. But obviously, everyone's in different positions. Some of us have to work. I got to go to work every day. I mean, we've all got our own commitments that we're going on with. So it's got to happen. But yeah, it's interesting you said that. I think we're all going to have a different outlook on life. Like, I know that I did work and I still do work really hard, but having this handbrake up a little bit, spending a little bit more quality time with the kids and having more conversations with people and talking, like, I realize I do really enjoy this part of life, which it's not that I've been missing out on, I just haven't been doing enough of. So once we go back to whatever it is that normality is, I definitely will remember these moments. I want to make sure that I've been cooking with my girls, with my kids, at least 3 to 4 times a week. I hadn't done that like really ever. So no matter what happens and how busy I get, I'm going to make sure that I always have that time, if it's once a week or twice a week, to cook with the girls.
Yeah, I mean, cooking is a great bonding thing for the family. I mean, as I said, I've been very blessed that I've taken one of Joey's cooks, and because I can't cook and we'd all be dead by now. But what was I going to say to you? So I think it's an interesting time because, you know, some of us are fortunate enough, as I said, to be able to take this time, learn a lot about ourselves, grow in who we are, and see which parts of ourselves that we like, that we didn't like, what we want to work on, all these kind of things, maybe spending quality time with our kids. Whereas I think, you know, other people have been thrown into total despair. And it's very interesting to see, like, mental health wise, how people are coping through this time. And actually, I was thinking, because before we came on, I was thinking about many different things we could discuss. And you are actually an interesting case as well, because I was just thinking to myself, you are one of the most, like worst case scenario people I've ever met in my life. Like, for those of you who don't know, Chris gets a cough, he's dying. Chris, you know, gets the sweats, he's got some terrible disease that no one's ever heard of. He Googles everything. He finds out that, you know, there's 1 in a billion chance and Chris has it. But on the flip side, the funny thing about this is he's still one of the most positive, people people I know. you know, you've always got a smile, you're always bounding around, you're always happy, you've never snapped really. So it's a very interesting, you know, what do you say? It's like
It's like talking two different things, but
in one
they, yeah.
person. You know, I've never really seen that in one person. Normally it's like, you know, the end of the world, I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills, everything's finishing. You never feel like that. You're like, I'm just here working on my empire. You know, you're always positive when it comes to these things. You always see, even if it seems impossible, you're like, you can get it. You know, I tell you I want to do this thing. You're like, oh, it's yours. You know, it's never like, don't be stupid, Caroline. You know, it's not gonna happen. Let's do this. You know, it's like everything's on. You're so like that with one on one side, and on the other side you're so positive. So it's interesting to see that how powerful the mind is, and I think a lot of people struggle with that, and well, a lot of people will be struggling with that. And I think we've all been reading in the papers, sadly, that with everything that's going on and with the economy being like it is and everyone having to be laid off right now, that there's more domestic abuse, more suicides, more people can't cope with, you know, maybe they've got mortgages to pay, bills to pay, you know, what will life look like afterwards, you know, even if I'm not, you know, as I said, I don't know what my life's going to look like afterwards, but I'm stable at home, which gives me security to think, okay, I can do another thing. You know, I just have to pivot a bit in my life. But some people don't have that luxury. If you're a single mother, maybe you're a single father, and you've got kids running around, you've got bills to pay, and you've just been laid off, what happens?
Yeah, no, it is difficult. Like, I speak to a lot of people as well through what I do on the radio. There are people that they weren't even living week to week. They were living day to day. There's a lot of people around the world who are living day to day, and this has just really thrown it all up in the air. And you know, I think for you and I, we are blessed to be able to have a beautiful roof over our heads. You know, I feel guilty that I've got a good yard and I've got a pool, and you know, because I know that people are living it completely tough. That's where my positivity, I think, comes into it. My worst case scenario is only mental. That's my mental. That's my mind. Yeah, that's my mind wanting to play tricks and be like, oh my gosh, you've got a cough, you've got the corona. Like, I've convinced myself I've had corona like 3 times in the last month, right? But I think the realness of how I am is I do look at the positives of life generally. And I know that, you know, where I am right now, I think I'm in a blessed position. So that's why.
That don't know within the UAE as well, which is a bit of a kicker for other people, is if you do lose your job, you actually cannot stay in this country, sadly. Everybody here is employed, which is a good thing too, by the way. So you don't have extreme poverty and extreme wealth. I mean, you know, you don't have the system that is, everybody here has a job and everybody is looked after, which is a great thing about the UAE. But also on the flip side, then you have to leave if you don't.
Yeah, well, the thing is as well, which I know what they've done is, there are new rules and regulations which they've implemented here in the UAE just to help the people out in those positions. Because people who are let go right now, guess what? They're in a weird predicament where they've been fired or they've been let go, but they can't leave the country because the borders are closed, right? So it's this position that no one ever predicted.
They are allowing people to overstay their visas now. They're not checking dates. They're not doing anything like that. So if you're in, you can stay. But does that last afterwards? You know, you don't know. I mean, I don't know. But like, I mean, I have really good friends of mine who are considering leaving now too, because they lost their job and they're going to get 25% of their wages only, you know, right now, and they can't live on that here. But I said to them, where are you going? Isn't it just as bad anywhere? I mean, like, you know, they're talking about going to Germany. I can't imagine the economy is so much better over there.
Yeah, this is something that is just going to take time. I think we're just going to all have to, and the crazy thing is no one knows what's going on, but you know, you've got to do what you got to do. I think going back to mental health, I think it's so important right now that we acknowledge everyone and how they're feeling. And I think everybody needs to keep asking each other, how are you going? Are you okay? How are you feeling?
I've been doing it a lot with I had a wobble yesterday because literally, not a wobble, but like, you know, I was just like, I've never spent this much time at home, and the kids just, it's one after the other. And it's just, there's no, you know, like normally I would just, you know, even just getting out of the house for an afternoon on your own and there's no one to speak to you. You know how independent I am. I'm so used to travel. I'm so used to this. It's a lot. 3 young children who want to sleep in my bed every night, want my attention every night. If they don't get it, they cry. I don't know how to deal with them, but it's a lot. But I'd still stand there and go, God, you know, I'm grateful. Look where I live. I'm fully aware of what I have. And then, you know, I slap myself because I'm like, look, no matter what, I went to hide actually in my closet for an hour and read a book by myself lying on the floor, and I felt great. And I've been manifesting and, like, you know, doing all this meditation. But I talked to my girlfriends and, like, you know, Suki and, you know, other girlfriends of mine, and then they haven't seen one single soul for 5 weeks, not a soul. And I'm like, no, that would push me over the edge. You know, at least I've got the noise, the chaos, the fun, you know, when I want it, and I can go and hide in my closet. You know, I've got Melissa here. We're kind of like, as hard as it is, and I'm sure, you know, I get on Melissa's nerves. She gets, you know,
she gets on mine, clearly.
Well, she didn't get on mine. She hasn't yet, but I'm sure, I don't know why I said that. But, oops. I'm sure we will eventually, but we haven't. We've been having such a laugh. It's been, you know, there's going to be arguments, but the kids, you know, it's a pressure cooker. Well, that's what I meant, actually. The kids have been getting on her nerves as well as mine. It's just relentless.
Yeah, it's like, but what we've got to realize is that those moments, and I believe that the moments that we're having right now with our kids and our families and Melissa, we're going to miss those moments when life goes back to normal. We'll look back at these times and go, you know, even though it was so horrible what we were going through and the fear of this virus and the jobs, those little moments are pretty cool, because it's sort of like, it's like you're on a bit of a summer vacation. You're all having to stay together in the one house and you have to cooperate and have to do everything together. So I can see it. But yeah, going back to people living on their own, like that's exactly how I think. That's why I'm so grateful that I've got the nannies and the kids and I've got people around me, because I've got one of my mates who lives on their own as well. And it's horrible.
Just to sit on a balcony and get real air. Like, I need that, you know, outside touch. I need to breathe fresh air to, like, live. I mean, and now they're stopping exercising, which gets people, you know, people get depressed. Sometimes just going for a run clears your head, or, you know, pumping some weights or whatever it is that makes you, you know, gets your endorphins going. And if you can't get that release, then, you know, you get depression. And then I know people, Suki was saying to me at the beginning, she wasn't getting out of bed all day. She would just lie in bed and watch Netflix for like 20 hours. And she's like, what's the point? You know, but now she makes a point of getting out of bed every day. You know,
well, I read a study about what, you know, the hardest thing to do, and if anyone's listening to this who is still raw quarantining, routine is the most important thing. So to actually, during the week, whatever week you follow, if it's Monday to Friday or Sunday to Thursday, to wake up in the morning, don't sleep in, wake up at what time you would usually sort of wake up at, have a shower, get dressed. If you put makeup on, do that sort of feel, like do exactly what you would usually do, but instead of getting in a car or catching a train or a bus to work, you just sit at your office desk and you get it underway. You give yourself structured time break.
Bedroom apartment.
Did you live in a 1-bedroom?
Yeah. What are you doing? You know, it's like.
That's what it is. You have to walk from. It's crazy. My cousin lives in Paris, right? She lives in a property, it's probably 5 meters by 5 meters. It's tiny. It's a studio apartment. She's going crazy. She can't go to the bathroom without closing the kitchen door, and vice versa. She can't go to the kitchen without closing the bathroom door. That's how small her place is. And Paris is pretty hostile right now. And she said that she's going crazy. But, you know, I told her, what have you been doing? She said pretty much that, laying in bed all day. So, you know, we've put that into place where we've put that into place now, where it's sort of like, just get up, at least just do the normal stuff, the makeup or the brushing of the hair, because you will just go into deep depression. And depression has picked up. Suicides have picked up as well over these times, because people, the worst thing is, which I'm sure you know, when you're alone, your mind just takes over and just starts thinking and manifesting things like crazy.
The divorce is up 150% or something ridiculous.
But what do you do? How do you? A friend of mine right now in Australia was contemplating.
Hello?
Agreed that the relationship was over.
Go back. Sorry. We didn't get that.
Yeah, it's a weak line for me now as well. Hold on, let me just. Yeah, I'm all. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay now. A friend of mine in Australia. Go back.
A friend of mine in Australia, they were contemplating getting a divorce about 5 months ago, and they've been talking about it, and they basically came to the terms where it was like over. But now this has happened, and they're living together nonstop, obviously, and they're quarantined in Australia as well. And he called me up the other day and he says, "It's the worst time for me." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because it's over. We're both acknowledged that it's over, but we're just having to be in each other's faces 24/7. He goes, "I can't even leave the house to go anywhere." He goes, "I was contemplating getting a hotel for the next month, but I don't want to stay in a hotel because I'm fearful of being around anyone else that may have the virus." And I just said to him, I said, "Are you sure you're not bonding anymore? Like you're not coming, this is not bringing you together?"
I can't
And
imagine
he said,
it brings you closer.
yeah, and he said, "No way." He goes, "I just want out, but I have to wait for this bloody virus thing to settle before we end it all." Thankfully, they don't have any kids, but I'm thinking of in those positions.
A lot of relationships, you know, especially with businessmen and whatever, were built on the fact that they traveled and they came back, and then, you know, you had a certain amount of set time with each other, and then, you know, so this is just forcing people. If you've got cracks, this is magnifying them. And, you know, when you're stuck in a house and you have nowhere to run, you are now, you know, things that didn't bother you before bother you. And I have so many girlfriends now who are like on the edge with their husbands. But you have to I keep reminding them, this is a minute, you know, it will go and try to breathe and it will go back to normal, But I mean, I know people that aren't going to make it. They're not going to make it.
I know that's the craziest thing, but I think everyone has a choice. Like either you go in this thinking to yourself, "We're here for a minute, let's make the most of it," or "I'm going to make this the worst possible experience you can possibly get to." So I think the choice is everyone's. But yeah,
this morning going, "It's war," and I went, and I was like, "There's room here." But you know, I don't know. You know, I can see that too. Awful. I'm very, you know, I don't see. I'm a make the best of it person. Like if Jem and I had ended up quarantined together, then, you know, I would have. We even when we broke up, we lived in the same house, one down, one up, and we, you know, we made it work. In fact, because we'd made the decision, we were more relaxed and we're probably kinder to each other than, you know, there's no pressure anymore. So like the irritating him before, don't irritate him because it's not his problem.
Yeah, you guys have done it pretty well, and I see that he comes over. I mean, I know that you guys are living very close to each other in the property wise, but you know, he comes over, and I think vice versa, which is good. You guys are doing it the right way, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Chris, I've always said to you that no matter what, there is no such word as divorce when you've got kids. You can do it the right way or the wrong. I mean, whatever. It's like, I'm sure we're going to have our moments, and there still are moments where, you know, obviously we get angry with each other, but then you know, I think we're both resolute in what we want, which is my end game is to be able to go, "Hi, I'm just on the podcast," which is to end, which is to be able to holiday all of us together, you know, with him, and, you know, and to be friends, and to be able to do those things, because at the end of the day, it's not like we can take 4 holidays a year separately. We need to be able to be sensible with the money that we have. I'm just podcasting with Chris. And hi kids. And so, you know, we really want to maintain a really good relationship, and the kids, you know, the kids will get the best out of both of us.
I was going to ask you a question. I think are the kids still around?
Yeah, it's only Yasmin. You
Hey,
don't
Yasmin, how are you?
Go on.
No, I was saying, how's Yasmin? Is she good?
Oh, I'm fine, yeah.
She's good. She's
Right.
her dad's.
Is mum behaving herself? Is mum behaving herself?
He's too short-tempered.
I feel better now, you see. Like, when you get a night off, it resets everything.
Yeah, no, I know. The other day, I was dealing with like work issues. I've got one of the kids coming up to me asking about homework. I've got the other kid getting a message from the vice principal because she wasn't uploading her work the right way. And I felt it as well. I was stuck. The thought of not knowing that you can go and just get on a plane to go see your family. I was fighting with my parents, making sure that they're staying home. And it does get a little bit full on sometimes. And you just want to be like, rah. But breathe. It will happen. I think if anyone, what was that?
I can't imagine you losing it.
Oh, I can, as in losing it, like I'm going crazy losing it. No, but like I have an, especially with the kids, like, you know, if things start getting too much out of hand for me, I'll end up being like, right, Sergeant here, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going on, and go and do it. So, but I don't go too crazy like that too often. I try to. Sorry?
Are they scared of you, the kids?
We're best friends. We're totally friends, and I treat them like adults. Like, and I always say that to them, like, I treat you like adults. But they know when Dad has gone from friend to, oh shit, we better listen to what Dad's saying right now because he's full on.
For them while we're in quarantine.
While we're in quarantine, bedtime. When we're not in quarantine, the kids go to bed 7:30, knocked out by 8 o'clock usually, but that's probably like 8:30 to tell you the truth. Whilst they're in quarantine, I get them into bed by 8:30, and then they're allowed to fall asleep by between about 9 and 9:15.
9 and 9:15. That's
What about yours? What about yours?
8:30 normally and 10:30 quarantine.
Interesting. But I mean, what time are the kids starting school now?
They get up at 7.
Oh, so it's still pretty early. Yeah, but like I think we're all doing. You know what? It's crazy because, you know, they say we're all in it together. We truly are. We're all doing this for the first time ever. Like, it's crazy. It's just ridiculous that we're having to do this, all of us together at the same time.
Yeah. Hang on. Can you guys please shut up?
That's the promo for this podcast.
Yes. This is it. Welcome back to my life. It's
Can you guys please shut up? I know exactly that feeling. But listen, going back to mental health, and there's one thing that I wanted to touch on, because again, I've just been hearing it a lot, is domestic violence has increased across the world because people are now stuck with their abuser 24/7. And I could not think of anything worse than that. Imagine being stuck with someone that either verbally abuses you or physically abuses you.
children that are stuck and have no voice. It's terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And also, you, as you see, you have less, your temper is quicker to go off because you've got nothing to release. You've got nothing to get, you can't get out of the house, you're stuck together. So all the things, you know, as we know, children can drive you to distraction anyway. So all of these things are magnified, and it's really, really, really sad. There's going to be a lot of violence from just being pent up frustration, and there's not enough helplines, there's not enough people that will get to you, not enough response units. It must be, it doesn't even bear thinking about, to be honest.
But if you've got any, you know, the message was out there the other day that if anyone is stuck in an abusive relationship and they need to get out, just to let their friends know ASAP, don't be shy about it. Don't feel like you're doing the wrong thing. Just don't stay in that relationship. I think that's something that's really important, that people who are either watching or listening.
Where do you go? And I think that's the scary part. Like, you can't get out, and if you do get out, where's anyone going? I mean, you know, we're all very lucky in that if any of our friends ever call, we'd say, come over now, and like we could all take them in and help them. But with people with no family or friends to call on, what happens to you?
No, it's 100%. But there are people and organizations in most countries around the world who can facilitate such an exit if need be, if it is to that point where, you know, you're physically, you're in harm, you're in danger of losing your life, or your child is getting, you know, hurt in some sort of situation. So,
more like family pact suicides, you know, as well, which is just awful, where they seem to be sort of, if one parent can't cope, they've been sort of, the whole family's gone, and it's just terrible. I hate reading the news at the moment, to be honest. It's so depressing. Or, you know, with the virus, someone loses their husband, and then the children are in the hospital. I read that this morning as well. And then what do you do? And it's just terrible.
I've got to the point now where I was doing about 4 hours of the news every day. I've limited myself to an hour a day because it was just too much. I was just taking in too much of it, hearing the horror stories of, you know, a father dying, but no one's allowed to go say goodbye to him. So he's saying goodbye on Zoom or on Skype and I'm like, oh my gosh, could you imagine having to say goodbye to your father or your husband or your wife or mother via a video thing like this, saying bye, great knowing you, I'll see you well in the next life? Like what we're going through right now is not only, it's taking a physical and mental toll, but, you know, I think that the thing that we've just got to remember is that it's not a lifetime. This is not how it is for the rest of our lives. You know, they will find
book, and it's a wonderful book, and if you ever decide to read a book, Chris, you should read it. It's called Many Masters, Many Lives. And it's amazing. New York bestseller list, like incredible book for those of you out there. And it really shows you that, I mean, if you believe in life after death and all this kind of stuff, it's pretty amazing. Which, you know.
You believe in life after death?
Well, this is so interesting. This is actually past lives. But it's so well written, but I don't know. Yeah. Why not? Why? I went to see someone actually once who said that so many of your character traits, or my character traits, are down to past lives that I've had, and that Yasmin chose me as her mother. Like, she's my guardian angel, I'm not hers. Which I also believe. She's very calm and good with me. So it's interesting. And then I'm reading this book, as I said, and this is a true story. It's a true story about this psychiatrist in America who didn't believe in any of this before, Harvard educated, and he got this patient, and she changed his life.
I might give it a go. Well, a story which I don't know if I shared with you. My little nephew, a little bit, like, he's amazing, right? He's got the best personality. He's a little bit different though, but he's so cool. And he supposedly went to school and told his school teacher that he was in a train accident in India in another life, and that's who he is, right?
You told me this. I remember. That this is basically what this book is about, and it's true. You know, like, how would he know all this?
Well, that's what freaked me out, and I've told Caroline, but I'll tell you guys again if you missed it. Was basically the teacher ends up informing the parents, say, like, what's he talking about? Anyway, they find out that on his birthday, like the day that he was born, there was an accident in India that killed a bunch of people, and he said the amount of people that died as well. It was a bit eerie and scary, but I don't know. It got me thinking. All right, well, maybe there's something there. Maybe there is. I don't know.
That's exactly what happened in this book. So go read it. Let's face it, you've got time.
What's the name?
Many Masters, Many Lives, is that it?
Many lives, many.
Many Lives, Many Masters.
Does Melissa read it to you at night, or do you actually physically read the book?
Page by page, Chris.
Don't put ideas in her head.
Yes. So why didn't I think of that? Come on, Melissa. No. So last night, I tell you, after what I did, so I was, I after getting rid of the sort of having a break from the kids and sort of going to have my own mental scream, I had a bottle of wine, got on the phone to my friends, I had my own dance party, danced around the living room to some cheese music, and had, like, with loads of people in there, and had such a laugh.
That is Caroline's tip of the week, which is grab yourself a bottle of wine or whatever you like and call your friends up and have a little party together virtually.
Put on one of those ridiculous like things in the background where you feel like it's like crowds of people dancing. It's hilarious. And just have such a laugh. And we all had a bottle of wine together. My girlfriend in Belgium, you know, and her husband, we all got drunk together and had an absolute blast. It was hilarious.
I like it. I like it. I think that's super cool. I think that's a good idea to do. We're doing a lot more. I'm doing a lot more. I'm actually talking to people that I haven't spoken to in a long time. Like now that I'm just doing the video chats and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's 100% to communicate. Hey, do you know WhatsApp now allows you to have a chat with 3 other people at the same time, video-wise?
No, I didn't know that. The one's here.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, WhatsApp. Just pick it up when you do a video chat now. If you want a video chat with someone, some of you may need a VPN link if you need to use that, but you can chat on WhatsApp now using three other people. So I just had a conversation with my mum and my dad and my sisters and my brothers all at the same time. It was gorgeous.
That's so nice. I have to get my mom and dad on actually. They just said, I think, you know, I think for older people as well, like my parents are like stuck in the countryside and I think they're really missing all of us. And of course, my brothers and sisters can't go and visit them now. And my dad's had heart stents. So it's, you know, very, very important. No one visits really. So, you know, they're really isolated. And then of course, you know, they have a cleaner like twice a week. And of course, they're not coming either. So that's a lot of work for them. So it's just, you know, different stuff like that as well, which we forget because, you know, when you're able-bodied and young and like whatever, it's not so serious, but like one mistake for them could be a disaster.
I know. It's surreal. I think the same with my parents. It's just surreal where we are at right now with our lives. But as we say, it's going to be a minute. It's not going to be forever. Keep happy. Keep positive. If you need help, ask for help from friends. Don't feel like you're lost. Don't feel like you're alone. Shoot out someone a message and let them come straight back to you.
You're positive vibes only. Keep thinking, no matter how bad it is, turn it into a positive in your mind. What is this sent to teach you? What can you be grateful for today? And the universe will send it back to you.
I love it. I love it. Love it. I love it. If you are watching this, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is. Chris and Caroline's Not So Epic podcast. We'll do these weekly whilst we're here in quarantine. You're in your house. I'm in my house. I'm having fun though.
Ask us any questions and tell us any topics you want us to discuss because we're open and we're looking for new topics. It's always fun to hear your ideas.
100%. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm going back to do an Easter egg hunt.
Oh, take care. We'll chat to you soon. Chris and Caroline's Not So Epic podcast. Bye.
It's Chris Fade and Caroline Stanbury's Not So Epic podcast.
Brought to you by NMC Healthcare and Cosmesurge. Head to cosmesurge.com.